easily get a lead, and instead of send them all these properties through email, let's get a coffee and build that initial human relationship with them. What is up, people? Episode 21 with producer Stump. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Thank you, man.
It's been a wild ride. 21 weeks in the making, TBD podcast. What a fun thing this has been, dude.
100%, man. It's been fun as hell.
Yeah, when we started it, it was kind of like, I had always wanted to do a podcast. You even started one, too, on your own.
Yeah, it was nothing much.
And then I bought some equipment. We started dipping and dabbling. And now here we are 21 weeks in.
It's wild, dude. It's wild to see the growth.
Yeah, it's been fun, too. Super
Absolutely,
fun.
Yeah. Just kind of started with me and you messing around, not knowing how to do anything.
No.
Yeah.
Taking an hour to set everything up, and now we're just rocking and rolling.
Knocking it out, dude.
But we were talking before we went live about the new studio. So I'm buying a building, and in the building is this sick upstairs, almost like a loft space, and it's perfect for a new studio. And we were thinking, how do we not have the iconic bookshelf that has been our backdrop for 21 weeks? And I think the solution is we have to figure out a way to, we can't take it, but build a new one in the new studio.
It's got to be done.
Maybe Gina's dad, he's a carpenter contractor.
Someone's going to be able to. I mean, Gina's
The space is probably what? It's just like this middle section. It's much smaller, but hey, we could figure out a way to build it. That'd be cool.
I think it's the centerpiece of Tampa Bay Developer, so.
Yeah. We got to get a T-shirt with the bookshelf on it.
I was about to say, dude, we got to get some merchandise with the bookshelf on it.
100%. Yeah, the new studio is going to be unreal. We're going to get it. I'm going to go freaking all out on it. We're going to have, a cigar humidifier. I'm going to get some sort of an air purification system. We can smoke cigars on the podcast. We'll do better backdrops. I mean, right now we've run this from our real estate office in the conference room.
It's going to save so much time, dude, not having to pull it all out of the bookshelf and just freaking
put even like today,
take it down.
Like we have an office meeting in an hour. We got to do a podcast, wrap it up, set up for an office meeting. Then we have a broker caravan today. Today's Wednesday. This episode will drop Friday. It's just having both things at one time is tough. And once they're completely separated, it's going to be awesome. Having a separate area for the podcast upstairs, right? Away from the office, away from the agents and the people working in the building. It's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. It's so funny to see how they kind of correlate together. They're both kind of separate businesses. Even though this is kind of just for fun, the podcast is for fun. You can look at it from a business perspective and, you're making connections, which is exactly what we do in real estate.
Yeah.
It's all about just making connections.
Yeah, we've met some really interesting people that I don't know I would have met outside of the podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because in real estate, you're so focused on, as a broker, you're just focused on who are the agents in town. You're looking at other real estate companies. And then, of course, you're looking at real estate itself. Outside of that, there's not much exploration that happens, besides like, can you buzz me in? Stefan needs to get buzzed in. Let me buzz the man in here.
Buzz him in, buzz him in.
Back door, unlock. This office is great because we have that. I just heard the door. He's coming in.
Stefan.
What were we saying?
Well, we were saying we need to get a live sign on the back door.
We are live sign.
And just make it open.
Okay. He'll call me later, I guess. All good. Yeah, we're going to be leasing out this office. So, from an investment standpoint, this is an awesome building.
Oh, yeah.
Standalone building, built in 2004. Nice parking lot, South Tampa. Gorgeous.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So the idea is like, why sell it? I think everything I've been reading, I'm 31. I'm young. I'm no means, and I'm not an expert in real estate. I've been doing this 9 years. But what I've seen and what I've learned is you really, if you don't have to, you shouldn't sell property. Yeah. You should figure out a way to keep real estate that's in good condition and in premium locations, put a tenant in there, and then try to refinance. And I think that's what we're going to try to do here. This office is so gorgeous. I would hate to sell it.
For sure.
You have to look at the end goal. The end goal is to have the cash, right? If we sell this building, okay, then we have the cash. The problem is you owe capital gains.
Yep.
And capital gains can add up quick when you start talking about 20 or 25% capital gain on hundreds of thousands of dollars. You might be writing a check to the government for $100,000. Like, who wants to do that? So when you refinance a property and you do a cash out refinance, the cash you get is not taxable. It's a non-taxable event. So in one scenario, if you sell the building and pay the taxes, you end up with X amount of money. In another scenario, you put a tenant in the building, you refinance it, then you end up with X amount of money. Those two amounts of money might be the exact same, but in one scenario, you keep your real estate.
Yep.
And then in the other scenario, you've sold it and paid the government a lot of money.
Right.
So it's like, I can see how it would be advantageous to keep real estate and refinance it. That's what Ben Mala, like I was watching Ben Mala videos. He's like, I would buy hotels for $18, $20 million, fix them up, refinance them, pull out all the money I put into it, and then have tax-free cash. And it's a hotel, right? So it's reoccurring. It's a business. It makes money, which pays the new debt service.
Right.
So that's what we're kind of thinking
Which
for
is
this
a lease.
office. Yeah.
The lease
The
is
same thing
essentially
as a
doing the
lease.
same thing.
Yeah.
Whatever is bringing in the income. It's all about just the income.
Yeah. Yeah. And the same could go for like even the condo. Like I could rent out the condo and refinance it. Or when we get involved in like a little flip property, maybe you don't sell that first deal.
Yeah.
Maybe you buy something and fix it up, put a tenant in, and then go to a bank and put a loan on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's a bunch of different scenarios you could do where you could, instead of buy something, flip it, make a little profit, and you're taxed on that profit. Maybe you go a little bit slower, but you're building a portfolio for yourself, and you look back in 5 years and you own like 10, 15 properties and you're making like 10 grand a month.
Yeah, you're building
That
out
would
that
be
portfolio.
sick.
Yep.
So that's kind of where we're at. But I'm also open to selling too. I also understand that at the end of the day, this is just a small office building in South Tampa. I don't know that there's a value that is like a crazy number in the future.
Right.
It's maxed out in a sense.
Yeah.
We've put a new roof on the building and beautiful wood floors and marble in the bathrooms. I mean, it's top of the line, but I have to think too, if I rent the place out and a tenant is here for 5 or 10 years, well, now the roof is 10 years old. Now the air conditioner is 15 years old. Now it might be outdated.
Right.
So it's not a bad idea to sell, get a premium for it. The trick is just that tax bill, dude.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
absolutely.
It's a tough one.
Everybody's got a price, dude. So it just depends.
That's true. If it's a crazy number, maybe
it's kind of establishing where that price is. And if it comes up, down the line, someone's like offering you a crazy price for it because it fits perfectly for them.
Yeah. And if it's the right business, it might be a perfect space. I mean, it's not going to work for a doctor's office because it doesn't have medical suites and enough parking, but for like a wealth management, like a private capital group, an attorney, even a real estate broker, investor that doesn't want to have like 50 agents or actually go a real estate company, but just do their own investments and stuff like that. That's what I could see.
Yeah.
I could see a capital group.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you could imagine the deals you could make in this beautiful conference room.
Oh, yeah.
And the location.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It might work for someone. Yeah. Maybe we should list it for sale and lease.
I mean, it can't hurt. It can't hurt because if somebody wants it, they offer a certain price for it.
Well, we have a place to go.
Yeah.
With plenty of room, that's
awesome,
for sure.
Dude. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, the building we're buying is about 3 times this size. It's in Tampa Heights. Super stoked about it. We just conducted our inspection last week. It went really well. There's one hiccup that we kind of knew about, and basically it's a design flaw. So there's air conditioners that are built into the roof, right? So there's like a shelf in the roof where all the AC units sit on. I would imagine the building was built in 2000. It probably was due to crime, right? Like that area is a little bit more prone to crime, and copper is extremely valuable. And oftentimes air conditioners are stolen. So I think they built that shelf to keep the air conditioners off the ground. I think that was the original intent. But 23 years later, that shelf has broken down. There's leaks in it. It actually flooded. Basically what happens is the water runs off the roof, collects in the shelf, and overflows inside the building.
Wow.
So that happened, I think, like a year ago. And dude, there's like mold and drywall and the floor's buckling. The whole area needs to be replaced. In addition to that, the air conditioners, if they're not on the shelf, have to go somewhere. Right. Now you're talking about replacing 3 air conditioning units, putting I think it's called a compressor is the inside unit. There's a condenser and a compressor. I don't know. I forgot what's what. But those units have to go inside the building somewhere. So we're going to have to take closet space in the building and build that out. So the guy yesterday says that just the air conditioners are going to be $8,000-9,000 a piece. There's 3 of them. Jeez. So that's approaching $25,000. And then you've got the actual construction of removing that shelf from the roof, re-roofing over it, all the wood, insulation inside, and then the build out inside, the ductwork, copper wire. That could seriously end up being $40,000-50,000 just to fix an issue that's going on in the building. Yeah. So finding that out sucked, but we really believe in the building. I think it's a great spot. We're betting big on Tampa Heights. I think Tampa Heights is the best opportunity in the city for growth.
Absolutely.
And I think as a new company to position ourselves in that location is a really smart idea.
Yeah, you can grow with the neighborhood.
Right in between Seminole Heights, Riverside Heights, and Tampa Heights. And when we're done with it, we'll basically make the building look like the same as this building. This building was built in 2004. The new building was built in 2000. Block construction, high ceilings, all the same actual construction. It's the same era. But we'll add trim and beautiful wood floor and marble high-end finishes. We'll make it look like this gorgeous office here. It's just 3 times the size. Yeah. So we're freaking stoked. Stoked for the podcast upstairs, and then I'm stoked for the real estate company. Yeah. I mean, our agents are going to have so much room. We're going to be able to do training classes and meetings with more people. We're not going to feel so cramped.
Absolutely,
It's going to be a game changer, dude.
There's a lot of room to grow. Yeah. There's a lot of space to occupy, which is great, dude. It's great for walking into that building. You're going to see a completely new opportunity in a new neighborhood that you can target. Because, everything's growing. It's growing in Tampa Heights in that area. It's a perfect location to grow a new up-and-coming brokerage to kind of set their landmark and grow within the neighborhood. Yeah. It's great.
I think so, too. We'll do some stuff for the neighborhood, neighborhood block parties. And
I think really, that would be so cool, man.
Really reach out to the people that live there. Yeah, we'll do, I don't know. We'll talk about that offline, but something for the neighborhood. I think that would be really cool. It's important for a real estate company to be entrenched in the neighborhood and in the local market. And I don't think you get that with some of these national franchises. I think that's what separates us at our company is we are hyper local. Yeah. Office Tampa, office Sarasota. We only focus on those 2 markets. And in those markets, we have lived there our entire life for generations in both Sarasota and Tampa. We know it very well, and we've been in business a while. Yeah. So absolutely. It's like, so we can really cater to that market expertise and that culture and have the neighborhood be involved. And I don't know what that would be. We've talked about like a fair would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Have
stuff to get back to community and kind of host events for everyone to bring their kids and spend some time. And bring people together. I think what we'll see too, like once, because it's a new brokerage, once we're 5-10 years down the line, people that have lived here their entire lives in Tampa will start to kind of adapt and I feel like mold to the brand.
Yeah, 100%, man. And giving back to the community, like you said too. I mean, whether that would be going around and doing like a free yard cleanup, or maybe you paint someone's house, or stuff like that, I think would be really, really neat. Separate us from the rest of the pack. Plus, Tampa has been on the come up for quite a while, and it really started in the early 2000s. But there were so many hiccups along the way. Like I remember, like 20 years ago when they put back in the trolley system, and they got Hillsborough Community College to go to Ybor, and they started to do some of these things. And Channelside was built in too, and people were like, what the hell is that? Like, why spend tax dollars on a trolley system that leads into Ybor City, which was a pretty, unfortunately, dicey area, just because there was shootings and there was stuff like that going on there. Pretty prevalent, like every weekend type deal. Mm-hmm. Pretty bad. And so a lot of people at the time didn't believe in that vision. And then as kind of the years went by, more development happened, and then 2008 happened, and then COVID, and like a lot of things have hindered Tampa's growth for I feel like 20 years. But a lot of those pieces were put in place a long time ago. And now that the world has really been exposed to Tampa and there's so many people moving here, now's the opportunity to really dig into those little details and help out and get that community effort in. And hey, man, we'll come and clean up your yard for free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And we'll get the whole team over there and clean your yard. Hey, man, we'll paint your house. Like, let's make our community a better place from the ground up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not all about Water Street and these huge developments. Like, that's great, but let's clean up our neighborhoods too. And the fact that we have an office in the Heights in a central location, that new building, dude, let's reach out right there. Like, let's knock on some doors and be like, hey, man, notice your yard needs some help. We got a team full of real estate agents that are willing to clean it up for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Imagine Gina picking up a log. That's what's funny about real estate agents. It's a women-led industry. So like the manual labor part would be like a cheeky, funny thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what's the old ad from like the 1940s of the lady with like, she's flexing her bicep and she's got a bandana on. It's like, we can do it. I think it was in the 40s for the war effort. Like men went off to war and women had to really roll up their sleeves and like freaking put some work in and some elbow grease. We should kind of run the same campaign for our company where it's like, our agents are badass bitches, man. Like they get out there and they're cleaning up the community, rolling sleeves up. It's not all about showing real estate in heels. That's what we've been really doing, is hiring good people. I mean, that's been my focus. I feel stupid about letting some people go in different directions because I was scared that I would lead them down a wrong path. Like they come to me for, to put their license here. And I'm like, I like you a lot, but it would be more advantageous to you to go to a larger company to get training, services, hand-holding.
Yeah. I mean, you're being honest.
Yeah. Just because if I believe in that person, I really want them, I have their best interests in mind, and I wouldn't want to be like, yeah, join my brokerage, you can make all this money, you're going to get your first sale in the first week. Like, I'm not going to bullshit you around like that. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, the plan is to build a training system and a system that they can go through. And we feel confident to take new agents like that on that are going to, go through the system and get the experience and knowledge that they need to succeed,
It's very important.
So you telling them that up front, like, hey, we don't have these systems in place now. We have them in the future. So come back in a year when you're, working with Keller Williams and you have these already established training programs and mentorships and, Keller Williams has been around for freaking years. So they got all those in place. Like, go do that for a year. And if you're still like attracted to the brand, like you want to be a part of this, then come back when we'll have, more infrastructure. We're growing, we're building, and we'll have, we'll be ready for you then.
There's a value in when you first get licensed, there's a big value in moving to a Keller Williams or a large firm like that has that infrastructure in place versus you just get licensed and you come to a newer firm that doesn't have some of that infrastructure.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think as a new agent, the reality is this is an extremely hard business. It takes months to get going, even years really. To build a career, it takes years in this business.
Yeah.
And it's not advantageous to you to just be sitting around and waiting for a customer to show up. You got to go out and get it, number one, but it's also a good time to learn.
Absolutely.
And take advantage of that training and those systems.
Would you advise a newer agent to take the individual route or a team route?
I think being on a team would be phenomenal for a few reasons. One, you'd have access to immediate listings, and then you'd have access to mentorship, people in the business that have been doing it a long time. That's not to say you can't find that in a regular company on your own as an individual agent, because you certainly can. And there's agents at our company that have done that. But being a part of a team, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, being a part of any smaller team is a big deal. We have just under 30 people here. I feel like it feels like a team. Feels like one small family.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think you can accomplish that feeling at 50 agents and 100 agents. But there's something to be said about being on a team with 5 people, 3 people.
Right.
Something like that. Some tight-knit group where you can call, bounce ideas, text. I mean, you're right there with your teammates, meeting with them, gaining knowledge and expertise, shadowing them on showings, whatever that may be. I think a new agent would be in a very good position to join a franchise team. If they feel that that's not servicing them 6 months or a year down the road, you can go boutique.
Yep.
But I in general shy people away from our company who are brand new, have no connections. They're not from Tampa. They just moved. There's a lot of people that moved here, got licensed, and they're like, I want to do real estate. It's like, you don't know anyone though. Yeah. You don't have an income.
Well, it's different too if you were born here and you know the area and you have connections within the city and you're already in a place where you know every street, you know every corner. So you're able to come into the real estate game and kind of give that expertise and use that to your advantage. If you're coming in with nothing, you're coming in from Boston, you don't know the city, you're at a complete disadvantage. Like you need to learn that, where you're at, Tampa.
Yeah, you don't. That's a really good point.
You can start, giving off neighborhood advice.
You don't even know the city.
Yeah.
Like you got to drive around first. You got to know the streets. When someone says we live over on Sevilla, well, where is that? Like you got to know where that is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And if you're not from here, you're not going to know that.
Yeah, 100%.
So I mean, even when I moved back to Tampa from Sarasota and college and all that 6 years ago, and when I first moved here, I was like driving around streets, looking at houses.
Yeah.
Reading street signs, literally like
100%.
Trying to relearn the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's like what happened with me when I came down and started working with you. When I came down to downtown, I was born and raised here, but I live up in Lutz, so I know that suburb area all the way down to South Carewood, and even past that, but it's downtown, like the urban core.
Yeah,
I didn't know, so I studied it. I just drove around downtown and kind of mapped out where I was at. Because you need to understand like where everything is in relation to real estate.
You have to. That's what gives your customer confidence in you.
Yeah.
Even if you're young, like you're 20 years old, if you can talk the talk and you're talking to someone at an open house and they mention, yeah, we're looking at a house on blank street, and you're like, oh, Sunset Park. Like I know that neighborhood really well.
Yeah.
My firm rep, blah, 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 blah. And you can rattle off. If they just mention an address and you have a fucking story behind that address,
oh yeah,
they're like, okay, this kid knows the city. I want to work with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why Zillow agents don't do well.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of reasons Zillow agents don't do well.
But the biggest one is when a customer calls on a Zillow agent, they don't know the listing. They don't even know. They show up to the listing knowing nothing. Yeah. They show up not even knowing the people. We've had showings where I say Zillow agent, but I think I'm just referring to someone who buys leads from Zillow. It's not to say they're all bad, because there's some really expert people who buy Zillow leads. I'm just saying in general, like the brand new agent that just tosses like $500 or $1,000 a month at Zillow and gets leads. When they show up to a property and they've never even met the customer, so the listing agent and the buyer's agent's first time meeting the customer is at the house. They don't know the street. They don't know the neighborhood. There's no glue to the relationship. If you can meet someone outside of that organically, really get to know them, become friendly with them, and prove to them that you're a market expert, why would they choose a different real estate agent? They're going to work with you the rest of their life.
Yeah, I feel like there's two core components. There's the relationship, and then there's the knowledge. Like you need to know real estate. You need to know where you're at in Tampa. If you're a real estate agent in Tampa, you need to know neighborhoods and the mortgage industry. Like you need to know different components of real estate, but then also that relationship. You have to have a relationship with that person. If you're just showing up, from a Zillow lead, I would say the first step you need to take is take them out to lunch and get to know the person before you even go see a house, or before you even walk in to do your listing appointment. Take them to lunch and get to know the person.
Yeah,
and make sure that they know you. Like talk about your experience as a real estate agent. Talk about your life in general.
And even if you're new to Tampa, your pitch could be, hey, I just moved here 3 months ago, got my real estate license. I'm with this company and this team, and I'm a freaking hustler. Like, no one's going to work as hard as I am trying to find you the best deal for a great house. I mean, you could learn a market, and you could learn the MLS. You could learn what's out there in inventory, prices. You could learn that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Now, when you start rattling shit off on the top of your head and you start impressing people, now that takes a long time. But there's no reason, you're right. You could easily get a lead, and instead of send them all these properties through email, let's get a coffee and build that initial human relationship with them.
Yeah.
That's the problem with not only real estate, but a lot of industries today, is that personal connection. And I preach that all the time in our company, is like, we're all about service. We're all about a personal relationship. We want a customer to use us for this transaction and the rest of their transactions for the rest of their life. And you have to build a relationship with them in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just a person with the keys to a house. You're just like a showpiece.
Mm-hmm.
You're the girl who rips back the cover on the Corvette, who's like running her hands softly against the hood and showing the car off. That's all you are.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that, though. You want to be you want to provide a service to these people.
Yeah.
And you want to do it in a really personal way.
Yeah.
So we're heavy on that. And I think you're right. I think you can combine the two. I think you could have a lead generation source, whether it's through Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever it may be. You can do paid leads and combine that with a service-oriented mindset. Mm-hmm. And you can get a Zillow contact that's never met you. They don't know who you are, but they're interested in seeing 123 Main Street. And instead of showing up at that house Tuesday at noon, you can meet them for coffee that morning, Tuesday, 9 a.m., get to know them, foster a relationship.
Absolutely.
Dude, I'm going to start buying Zillow leads and doing that. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be now think about this idea. The broker, the company, buys Zillow leads. I go out, meet the customer for coffee. So nice to meet you. Super excited about finding you a house in Tampa. Our company's going to serve you great. I'm going to put you with Jimmy, who, you know what I'm saying? Agent X.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're going to be great. I'm going to put an associate with you. You can work with them directly. Like, I build the relationship and then put them, that Zillow lead, on a specific agent. And that's how I dish out leads.
I think honestly that'd be great, dude. But I personally don't even know if, you know, how many appointments can you get with a Zillow?
That's true.
Like Zillow leads, like
it's kind of
pay $1,000.
Yeah, it's kind of a pie in the sky idea.
Yeah.
But the idea of lead generation, establishing that personal relationship, and then focusing on where and what they're going to buy.
Absolutely.
Versus like, hey, I'm calling you from Zillow and I want to see this house. Like, there's no glue in that relationship.
I think it's all about a process. You need to have a process. And I think the first step in that process is building the relationship. It has to be. Or else you don't have a relationship with that person and you're going through, you know, sending them properties and getting them pre-approved. And then all of a sudden they turn around and use their next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a relationship with them. They ghost you. They don't answer you. You don't answer your texts. And you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
But, you know, you didn't have a relationship with them in the first place. They didn't like you, bro.
They didn't like you, bro. It's such a different business. It's not like you're freaking buying T-shirts or selling cars. Mm-hmm. It's such a relationship-based business. You're in people's bedrooms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
more than that. Yeah.
Like, you're in between a husband and wife oftentimes.
Mm-hmm.
You're transitioning a family moving here from across the country. Like, you're deeply entrenched in a personal relationship already, just on its face, as the transaction exists. So why not go the extra mile and build rapport? Why not? Don't treat them like a number. Don't put them on an email drip campaign and forget about it.
No.
Like, the whole, like, it's a numbers game. Not in this business. I mean, it is to an extent. You do need lead generation, right?
Right.
But you can't focus on that. You got to focus on the relationship.
Absolutely. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's important to have a process. And
we'll figure it out. I think we can talk off camera about specific ideas, but I love in general the idea of the company providing a lead generation source to agents that has already fostered a relationship, and that customer is familiar with the company and the broker and the process. Mm-hmm. So when that customer meets the agent, they're comfortable and confident that, hey, these agents are going to really service me well.
For sure. Yeah,
versus like another real estate company like buying Zillow leads and then just handing the leads out to agents.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that, I like that. Write that down.
Write it down.
That's a good one. That's a gem.
Yeah.
I don't know of a company that does that.
Mm-mm. No.
But I've also done my own thing for a long time. I don't necessarily pay attention to what other brokerages are doing. I probably should. I should probably look at what other models are doing, and because in a sense it's competition.
Right.
And it's not competition in that, I'm trying to crush this company. It's like a competition in the sense of an agent has a choice of where they place their license, where does our company stack up in that mix?
Right.
And it's very important to know what each brokerage offers to know where we stack up.
Yeah.
Not to undercut them, not to talk shit against another company and twist someone's arm to get them in our door. Not for that reason. Solely for the reason of what is the playing field? Like what is the playing field?
Knowing your market.
Know your market as a company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It goes for all things in business.
For sure.
You got to know your market. Like you've experienced it. You've had, customers you've been working with for freaking ever, and then they turn around and work with their cousin.
We were at an open house and the agent said, it's for sale. We just put it in offer with them. I mean, that's a classic story.
It's classic.
That's really the nature of this beast, and that goes back to the service mindset. That's why you have to provide a high level of service, because there's so many opportunities for a customer to buy a home or property without you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how many realtors we know a lot, but the average person knows, like you said, a shitload of realtors.
Yeah.
You have to separate yourself.
Absolutely.
And you're right, man. The same thing goes with brokerages. When you get licensed, dude, they send you text messages.
Calls.
Berkshire Hathaway, here's what we offer. You're hammered with brokerage offers when you get your real estate license. How do we connect, get in front of that, and show those licensees what we offer versus other firms? And then the same goes for a customer too. When you start looking for homes, I mean, dude, you can go on Zillow and look for a home yourself, click the number, or call a Zillow agent and do a transaction without ever Googling Tampa real estate agent, how to buy a house. Like that part of the business is completely off the table. Yeah. And then like when my mom first got in the industry in the 1980s, you would go to a real estate office. They used to have what's called floor duty. You'll still see it sometimes at some offices. Agent on duty. There's a sign out front. You walk in. Hi, welcome to XYZ Real Estate. Hey, I'm looking for a home. But that was the way business was done back then.
Yeah.
You call a real estate company. You're in California. You call a local broker here in Tampa. Hey, I'm flying in. I'm looking for this. I'm coming here June 32nd.
Yeah. Dude, the bread and butter is referrals.
Yeah, exactly. But business is done differently. It's not about that brick and mortar real estate office necessarily. It's about essentially who can first make that personal relationship and get it elastic and get it sticky enough to where even though that customer is bombarded with other agents and offers, whether it's on Instagram, advertising, wherever, they don't care because they're committed to working with that agent.
Yeah, yeah. They're elastic because of that trust that you've built with them.
Yeah.
You're building that trust with, the expertise that you're providing, the advice. And over time, they get into positive situations. You get an offer accepted and they trust you. They like you. They're happy to refer you to one of their friends that are looking to purchase because you got them that offer accepted.
That's how you build a career.
Yep.
You build a career by doing a good job for people, and then those people tell their friends and family. And you compound that over decades, man. And then, 20 years later, you have this awesome career and you're making as much as a freaking doctor and you never went to college. Like, that's how it's done.
Yeah, yeah. It's not going to happen overnight, though. Real estate, out of all industries, is the slowest. It's the slowest to get market. If the economy is tanking, it's going to be the last industry to feel that.
That's true.
It's going to be, it just moves slow. And even inside of the industry, you're not going to close, 100 deals in your first 5 years. Like it's going to take time. Like you're going to need to understand you might not get a deal in your first 2 years.
And even if you do, where's the consistency?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the consistency if you get licensed and Uncle John wants to buy a $5 million house and you sell a $5 million house within 60 days of getting licensed? Is that amazing? Yeah, dude. Is it a big commission check? Yeah. What about next year?
Yeah. Exactly.
You cash the check, you pay expenses and taxes. Now what do you do?
Exactly.
You need to grow a career. You have to have consistent business. And that's really only built the right way, brick by brick, transaction by transaction, doing a good job for enough people to where those people refer you to their friends and their family.
Absolutely.
You have to do it like that. There's really no shortcut.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's really no shortcut to the agent that's been in business for 5 years or less, and they're only focused on one transaction.
Yeah.
You kind of have to foster relationships and grow and grow and grow, and not treat those commission checks like pieces of candy to just devour. Like, treat it as a business. Like, all right, cool, commission check in the pocket, savings account. Anyway, like next one. Like, you have to be forward thinking. You can't just do that one deal, cash the check, and like go to France.
Super important. You should always be prospecting.
Yeah.
You have to always be prospecting, because you get one deal, you get all excited about it, just like you said, and you're not focusing on the next deal. Come, you closing that deal, come the next 2 months, you don't have anything.
Exactly.
You're working a month ahead. Like, you have to be prospecting for the next month. Like, you're trying to meet somebody now, so that in the next month you can have something under contract.
One customer or one sale, though, could change your career.
Absolutely.
One sweet listing you have, you do enough open houses, you meet enough people, some of those people buy property, maybe they list their house with you, then you do more open houses, you meet more people. I mean, one listing for you could change the course of your career.
Absolutely.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of careers are built, is one defining listing.
Absolutely. You post that everywhere on social, and now all these relationships you've been fostering and have been growing, all these relationships with people, they see that you made that sale, and they build some, there's some attractiveness to that. If they're in the market, you're already in their mind. They'll hit you up, and then boom, you got your second deal. Like you said, that it can be a game changer, just having one deal and just pushing it out there and be facey.
Yeah, use your listings as marketing pieces, because number one, your seller will appreciate it. Your goal as a listing agent is to get as many qualified eyes on that property as possible. And the reason for that is, if you sell their listing off market, let's say you have a listing appointment and you tell the seller, "Oh, I have a buyer for this, I can put the deal together." You're kind of leaving your seller at a disadvantage. There's so many now shifts from this might not be true across the country, but we're in a market where there's a shitload of eyes on us. There's a lot of people moving here. When you list a home on the open market and people across the entire country can see it on Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever respective website they're looking at, there's more of a chance that one of those buyers will pay more than the next. If you close that faucet off and you just sell a property off the market, how do you know there wasn't a buyer out there willing to pay more?
Right.
You might have left money on the table for your seller. So use your listings shout it on the freaking rooftops. Market that property online, video, drone footage, print advertising, internet advertising. Like, blow your listing up, not only for you, obviously, but for your seller too. You want to get a good deal for your seller. And the reason is, it's what we're supposed to do, because we want to have their best interests, in mind. But also too, like, dude, you want to get them the most amount of money possible, and you want them happy to refer you business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you just toss it on MLS with shitty photography, or you sell it off market for, I don't know, average market value, they're not going to be as excited as if you just shout it from the rooftops and you got a broker's open with balloons and food and you get 1 million offers and they get a great number. They're going to be like, dude, you're the best real estate agent ever.
Yeah.
And then what are they going to say to their people when they're out at the bar? "Oh, you sold your house. Who'd you use as a real estate agent?" "Oh my God, Tyler Stump. He was the best agent ever. His marketing was unreal, and he got me more than market value for my house."
Yep.
I'm calling that guy.
For sure.
So.
For sure, dude. That's the game, man. It's the name of the game.
Name of the game,
so
bro.
So much fun, man.
It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such a fun business, dude. You can make. A lot of people don't. A lot of people do it part-time. There's probably only the top 5 or 1% of agents that make some real money. But if you do it right, you can make as much as a doctor, lawyer, freaking neurosurgeon, and never have gone to college.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
The opportunity in this business is unbelievable, and there's no better place to do it There's no better city. There's no better state.
No.
There's
Can't
no
beat
better
Tampa,
age.
bro.
We're young. We're in a place where there's 1 million people moving, and we're in an industry where people are coming here and buying houses like freaking hotcakes.
Yeah, oh yeah. You reap what you sow too. If you're working hard and you're a hard-ass worker and you come in this industry, just fucking hitting it, hammering the nail, open houses every weekend, just being in the business, you can be in a place to succeed.
And that's who we're looking for too at this company. I mean, we've taken on new agents that might not know people, but they're just freaking at open houses. They're sacrificing Saturdays and Sundays at open houses. They're making connections. They're calling people. They're driving around town. They're doing broker caravans. Dude, we want those people on board.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We want those people on board. We want good people, and we want people that have hustle.
Yeah.
We want people that are honest. They have a lot of integrity. They're not talking shit about other brokers. They're not going around doing this or doing that. They are very focused. They're career oriented. They're long-term oriented.
Yep.
They're honest.
Yep.
Which takes pressure off me. I mean, if I got yahoos working for me, then they're going to get in trouble, and I'm going to have to show up. And I don't want to do that. So hustlers, good people, that's who we're looking for.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good long-term strategy too. And I think as you grow, you can expand that. Like maybe you could take someone who is like down on their luck, but you believe in them and you really think they have it in them, and maybe they need that extra little push. Maybe they're a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
And they just need a little polishing.
Oh yeah.
Right now, it's kind of hard for me to take that person on. Right now, I need someone that shows up and they're like, dude, I'm ready to freaking hit it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do an open house every month or every week. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
not every month. That wouldn't be very good.
Crazy.
Twice a week, Saturday and Sunday. If someone's like, I do open houses every weekend, I'm doing this, I'm door knocking, I'm hustling. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You're going to make a pop.
100%, dude.
It's inevitable.
That's the name of the game, dude. Unless you want to be average and have an average salary and be an average
Tommy
agent.
Boy, who was that, Cameron?
Might have been Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
He's always an early bird.
Talking about a hustler, man. Kid's killing it.
Man.
Kid's making it happen.
That's what you got to do.
That's what we're all here to do. We're all young. That's what's interesting about our firm, too, is we're all young. Our youngest is 20. Our oldest is, 36, right? So it's like 20s and 30s. We obviously, in Sarasota, we have some older agents, and we do have an older agent here, and out-of-state referral agents and stuff like that. But the meat of the company is, I think the average age is probably 30, 28, 31.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's interesting because it enables us to have that hustle. I have a kid, right? A little baby at home, a little Rome. But a lot of our agents aren't in that position, and they can just freaking grind. And if you're here and you're not grinding, you're in the wrong place. I mean,
dude, that's what we have. I think that's so important to market that out there, that, because we're young, that doesn't mean we might lack experience. I feel like there's more advantage to working with somebody, a real estate agent that's young and has all this time on their plate to just focus in on hustling and grinding. So they get one opportunity, they're going to make the most out of it. And they have all this time to focus on that, and all time and energy to focus on, that listing or that new buyer that they're working with. They're going to go out. They're like, it's up to you when you want to go see this house. Like, I got full, I'm open. Like, let's hit it. Let's do 12 houses this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. That's the advantage of being young. The disadvantage is you haven't been doing it for 25, 30 years like a lot of agents have been doing here in Tampa. There's very established agents here in Tampa that have been in the business 30 years.
Right.
You're not going to beat them on experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
No, for sure.
You're probably not going to beat them on expertise. They've gone through so many more transactions than you. They know the ins and the outs. That's okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's their situation, not yours. And in 30 years, you'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they, at one point, were in your position too. And the reason they're in their position is because they did hustle when they were 25 years old and 30 years old and 35 years old.
Absolutely.
And now that they're 50, 60 years old and they're at the top of their career, dude, they put in the work. They've been doing it 30 freaking years on their feet. So when people join this organization, they have to have that long-term mindset too. The long-term mindset is very important here, because the agent coming into this organization that's just like, oh, I'm going to make a quick buck. We're going to be killing it. I'm going to do 10 million this year. It's like, dude, things take time. Things take time in this craft. You got to sharpen that blade, you know, slowly.
Yeah.
You got to hone your skills.
For sure. Yeah. It's important to not just come in with the mindset of, what am I going to get? Like, what kind of leads am I going to get?
Yeah. What are you going to give me?
Yeah, the give me mindset rather than attacking it hard and attracting that. You're attracting that, you're in the office and you're grinding out your own work, you're learning, you're researching, you're working, and, one of the other agents comes in and they have a lead that they're not able to service. And then boom, you have an opportunity. Like just being in the right space, the right time, like just working and grinding and hustling, and eventually you'll get an opportunity and you take advantage of it. And that's how you start out to build momentum and start to get on your feet in the business.
This entire business is based on opportunity and luck, right?
Yeah.
But isn't luck just the right place at the right time and you've put yourself in a position to take advantage of an opportunity? I mean, that's really what luck is.
Absolutely.
Are you getting lucky that a buyer walked into an open house, or does you're in the open house, so you've given yourself the opportunity to take advantage of luck?
100%.
And that is this business. You cannot do this from your couch.
Nope.
You cannot do this at the office. You got to be out there pressing flesh, meeting people. You got to be doing open houses. You have to be in positions where luck can happen. That's the whole business, dude.
Yep.
That's the entire business, and you got to have that mindset too. You have to be an opportunistic person. You have to think about, hey, I'm going to sacrifice some shit to put myself in the best position to get lucky.
Oh, yeah.
And you will get lucky.
Yeah.
It just takes time.
You got to be willing to sacrifice weekends. Because those weekends, it's only 2-3 hours. Like, spending just that little amount of time can be a career game changer. Like
All it takes is one. I mean, really,
100%.
All it takes is one. All it takes is one deal. You get a decent commission check. You put it in your pocket. You can breathe for a little bit, and then you go back out there and you stack it up.
Yep.
You gotta have that growth mindset, and you gotta understand too. There's a lot of discouragement in this business, but that happens in any business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you want to go do? You want to go sit at a freaking 9-to-5 job in a cubicle, or do you want to try to make an opportunity out of your life? And that's kind of what this business offers. This business really is geared towards entrepreneurs, because as a real estate licensee, you are your own business. The brokerage is the company you have your license under. The brokerage is there to provide a brand and some liability and an office and the legal requirements necessary to hold a real estate license. But beyond that, you are your own business as a real estate licensee. I mean, you have expenses in marketing. You want to advertise yourself. You want to present yourself in a good way to the public. Like, as a real estate agent, you got to think of yourself as a business.
Absolutely.
And I think if you have that entrepreneurial business mindset, you'll go super far versus, this is a job. I don't want to do this open house this weekend. I want to go to the beach. Like, if you treat it like a job, when you go do that open house and no one freaking shows up, you're going to be like, I ain't doing this next week. You know what I'm saying? But if you have that business growth mindset, you'll show up every weekend and you'll always be there to create an opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. There's no ceiling to what you can make in this industry. There's really no ceiling, because you get your license and you start selling and you're a salesman. You build up some income, some capital, and then you start investing, which a lot of people do. You start to learn the game. You start to understand, the numbers and how these investors that you've been working with start making, 25% profit, and they're just racking in this money on top of what, their regular jobs. Like, this isn't even their full-time job, but they invest in real estate on the side.
Yeah.
Like, you start to learn that there's other ways to make money, and dude, that's what you have to do.
That's where you build your empire.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's a really good point, because real estate sales is only a portion of the equation. And once you get deeper in the game, you start to understand, like, oh, I can take the commission and I can buy cash flowing property, and then I can depreciate that asset to go against the income I'm making. And maybe then you get to a point where I'm not even paying income tax and I'm making $500,000 a year, and I've got $10 million worth of real estate and 15 different properties, and I could not show up to work and not sell a house next year and still make $100,000, $200,000 in cash flow. Dude, like
the thing is, there's people doing that.
Oh yeah,
there's people doing that, and then there's people like, oh, I want to go to the beach this weekend.
Yeah,
I don't want to do the open house.
Exactly.
I'm gonna send it to somebody else. I'm gonna give them the opportunity to make money.
Dude, I've been there.
It happens. It does happen. Like, it's important to realize that it does happen.
I mean, you didn't have anyone show
Dude,
up on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it's happening to me. I'm a prime example of that happening. But the thing is, instead of looking at it as, oh man, this sucks, I didn't have anybody show up at my open house, you start thinking of, okay, how can I get people to come to my open house? Next weekend, I'm going to go around the neighborhood for 2 hours, and I'm going to knock on people's doors and say, hey, come to my open house. I have food, I have games, I have this, I have that, and try to get people in. And
improvement.
Even if you're not having a conversation with somebody who's looking, you're having conversations with people in the neighborhood, and they start to like you. They build a rapport with you. They see you sell the house. Bam, they hit you up. They hit you up because they're in the market, and you have a new listing and a new opportunity. Like, that's all. It's what it takes, dude. You have to kind of always be in that entrepreneurial mind and grow.
There's really two things there. One is it's a muscle, right? So it's like, when you first start out, is it the easy, everyone's different, right? Some people are more extroverted, but is it the easiest thing to do for everyone to knock on someone's door and pitch a listing? Hey, come to my open house this weekend. It's really pretty. No. But you start doing that every week by 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 2 years, a career in. Now it's no big deal.
Yeah.
So it's a muscle. You got to work it out. You got to talk to people. You got to learn how to be extroverted, and you got to learn how to interact with human beings in an effective way. Because it's, again, you're not punching a clock. You're not just sitting there on a computer doing these tasks for money. You're your own business. And if you're your own business, you got to go out there in the marketplace and you got to tell people who you are and what you do. Yeah. And that's not the easiest thing to do for people.
Right.
So that's a muscle, number one, and you can work out that muscle. And then number two, imagine that neighbor in the neighborhood you have a listing in. They see the house has been sitting on the market for a few weeks. It never went pending. And this young realtor's out. He's out there every freaking week. He's doing open houses every week. He's showing up at your door. Hey, Mr. Smith, doing another open house this weekend. Just wanted to invite you by. And then it goes pending. Mr. Smith is going to be like, damn, dude, like that little agent just hustled he hustled that property and got it sold. He didn't just list it, go to the beach on the weekends. Like, he was out there every weekend at an open house and got that thing sold. Maybe he'll give you a call.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the game, bro.
It is the game.
That's the game. Well, what are we at? We got a sales meeting or a market meeting.
We're at 55.
55, and then we got a broker caravan. Got some super exciting guests lined up, people. And, dude, the new studio we're so hyped about. We'll be in there, I don't know. It'll be maybe a couple months before we get that thing fully built out. But we're super excited about it. I definitely want to build out the bookshelf in the new place. I just think it's freaking iconic at this point.
It's got to be done.
Yeah, it's got to be done. But like I said, we'll do like cigars. We'll get a little bar set up in there. We'll probably build out a new table. We're going to go all the way. Soundproofing, better equipment, better mics, better cameras. Like, we are committed to taking this podcast to the next level and providing you guys with incredible content of Tampa history and culture. We want to show off Tampa businesses, Tampa entrepreneurs. We want to tell not only Tampa, but the world about who we are, what we do, and we want to show Tampa, hey, who's the players, man? Who's making it happen?
Oh, yeah. I love it, dude.
Tyler Stump, you're a fucking legend, bro.
No, you're a legend.
Well, dude, appreciate you being the producer.
Well, thank you, man. It wouldn't happen without a host.
Talk about a learning curve.
I actually have a show. Yeah, dude, seriously. Yeah, it's been a journey, but we're getting there.
It's not the easiest thing.
No.
Chat GPT and AI technology makes it easier, though.
Yeah. If it was my full-time job, maybe, spend a little bit more time on it, but
yeah,
we are where we are. I think it's going pretty well.
In the beginning of anything, sacrifices have to be made. Oh, yeah. Extra time has to be spent, and there's frustrations that come with starting. And because of all that, it's the reason why most people don't do it and most people don't start. It's because they don't want to be frustrated, they don't want to take the time, and they don't want to go over those hurdles.
Absolutely. Said it perfectly.
But if we can drive through that door, we can create something really special.
Sky is the limit, dude.
Sky's the limit, and we can create something really special. I think that's what we're doing. That's why I really enjoy this podcast, and I enjoy doing it with you, dude.
Yeah,
21
man,
weeks.
I appreciate it.
21 weeks, man.
That's crazy.
21 weeks.
Looking
forward to the next 21.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly, man.
Let's do our
Thank you. I appreciate
company meeting. Cheers, everyone. See you next
See you
Friday.
later.
Bye, everybody.